Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to extend a big welcome to everyone here today from the Business and Professional Women of Maine. We're very proud to be one of the 3 sponsors for this important event. It's incredible to me that we are in our 24th consecutive year of this event. Does anyone think that is an amazing accomplishment? The incredible part to me is we're still finding such worthy women in the state for this honor. And that tends to make me think that it's a tribute to all the women of the state who stand up and work for the betterment of women. You guys sitting out in the crowd, you know who you are, so let's all stand up and give a big shout out to all the women who have worked and have continued to work for us all, many of us right here in this row. Up, let's go! But it does not go unappreciated. Today, though, we are here to recognize and add to our Hall of Fame 2 of our sisters for their lifetime achievements on behalf of women. I've read the bio for Dr. Brown and have known Mary Cathcart firsthand, having lived in her district. Both are truly worthy of this honor, and I suspect you'll enjoy getting to know them a bit more through their presentations. Thank you for coming, and enjoy the show.
Hello, I'm Jilda Nardone, the Executive Director of the Maine Centers for Women Working Community, but today I'm also representing Dr. Allison Hanley, the President of UMA in Augusta. UMA is very honored to welcome you to the campus and to the 24th. I think it's an incredible accomplishment of the Maine Women's Hall of Fame ceremony. UMA is proud to host the Hall of Fame in the Cates Library here on this campus. And if you haven't yet visited the photographs and stories of all these wonderful women, please do. It's in the passageway between the Cates Library and the Holocaust Museum. UMA as an institution has supported many non-traditional and traditional aged women students in pursuing their academic careers. And it's also, as some of you may know, the home campus of Women Working Community, and my colleague Eloise Vitelli is here with me today. I'm particularly pleased to be here to recognize 2 of my colleagues for whom I have a great deal of respect, Lynn Mikel-Brown and Mary Cathcart. And I particularly appreciate about both of them the work they have done with girls and young women in the state. Lynn with Hardy Girls and Mary with New Leadership. And I know you're going to hear more about both of them. We're very excited. I think this is a record number of past inductees into the Women's Hall of Fame who are here today. So that's wonderful. And again, my congratulations to the 2 new inductees. Thank you for coming and enjoy the afternoon.
Honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Judith Clark, and I'm president of the Futurama Foundation, and I'd like to add my welcome to all of you to this 24th annual induction ceremony for the Women's Hall of Fame. And very special congratulations to the newest members of the Hall of Fame, Dr. Lynn Brown and Mary Cathcart. It is an honor to add these 2 outstanding women, and as has been said, it's a pleasure to see so many former Hall of Fame inductees here today. Thank you for making the effort to join us. It's really wonderful to have you here. The Futurama Foundation and BPW Maine have been awarding scholarships for over 20 years to Maine women. We welcome this opportunity to offer the help, but as always, opportunity comes with a challenge. And ours is to find a way to continue to award scholarships at the current level in the future. We are constantly looking for ways to ensure the sustainability of the program so we can keep on with the work. To those who sponsor a scholarship, Kennebec Savings Bank, we are forever grateful. We would love to add more sponsors to that list, of course. So ideas, we'd love to have them. And to all of you here today who generously supported the scholarship program by coming, thank you so much for being a part of something both essential and exciting. Enjoy the rest of the program.
Good evening, seems that way now. I've been up so long since starting this morning. So good afternoon. I'm going to wish you honored guests that we are inducting this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us this year. It doesn't really seem possible. It can be the 24th year that we have been honoring women, and there are still so many women out there that could definitely be honored. And I want to first thank representatives from our three co-sponsoring organizations. First, Marie Saucier, who is co-president of BPW Maine, Jill Nardone, who is executive director of the Maine Center for Women, Work and Community, who is representing University of Maine at Augusta, and Judith Clark, who is president of the BPW Maine Futurama Foundation. Each year, we hold a special ceremony to honor women here at the University of Maine in Augusta during the month of March in observance of Women's History Month. During the 24 years, the University of Maine at Augusta has generously provided a site full of display, full of photographs and the citations for each of our honorees, and provide the space for us to hold our ceremony. We hope each of you signed our at the registration table, our guest book, so that we have a record of who was here today. And we started a little bit late because we were so happy to have so many previous inductees here with us. I needed to, for our history, get a picture of them so that we could keep that as part of the event. And I would like now to have each of the previous inductees that I know that's here and anyone else, each stand up, and when I'm finished reading the name, we can clap for each of you. I'll just go alphabetically since that's probably the easiest way. Sharon Barker, Mary Farr, Laura Fortman, Karen Heck, Ruth Lockhart, Libby Mitchell, Catherine Musgrave, Jill Nardone, Eloise Vitale. Have I missed anybody? Okay, well, thank you all for joining us today. We're real pleased to have you here. And this time you can just sit back and relax and not have to worry about what you're going to say later on. I know that's sometimes a nice thing when you come back. And now we'd like to begin having some special remarks, and we are very pleased and honored to have the Honorable Mike Mitchell, Member of Congress, joining us again for another year. Please help us welcome Representative Mitchell.
Thank you very much, Sally. It's an honor to be back with you again this year to honor the inductees. I want to congratulate all the previous ones who are here today for all that you have done and are still doing in your respective communities and statewide. It is a pleasure to be here, and I want to congratulate this year's inductees, Lynn Mikel Brown and Mary Cathcart. I'm honored to have the opportunity to congratulate both of you on your inductions into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. Lynn, your tremendous work on behalf of women and girls make this award particularly well-deserved. As a co-founder of Hearty Girls, Healthy Women, as a member of a number of women's policy organizations, and as a professor at Colby College, you have touched the lives of many individuals throughout the state of Maine. Your efforts empowers young women, enable them to thrive as leaders in their respective communities. You are a wonderful role model for women of all ages and truly deserving of this recognition. So congratulations. And Mary, it is a pleasure to serve with you in the Maine legislature for a number of years, both in the House and in the Senate, and it's an honor to stand with you today as for this ceremony. You have been truly a strong advocate of Maine women's issues throughout your career in the legislature and Central Left, and before you got into the legislature. You made a positive impact on countless of lives. You have fought against domestic violence at Spruce Run, represented the interests of women in the Maine legislature and expanded the role of women in our state's economy. Even now, Mary, the Maine new leadership program you established at the Margaret Chase Smith Policy Center is working to identify and mentoring the next group of great female leaders throughout the state of Maine. And I really appreciate all that you have done over the years in educating other members of the legislature and the public of how important these issues are. You're a tireless advocate, and you're a bulldog when it comes to these types of issues. So I really appreciate all the work that you've done. And Lynn and Mary, I want to thank you both for all your years, and congratulations again for earning this momentous honor. And as always, I want to recognize Sally Ann Parks and the Maine Women's Hall of Fame itself. Thank you for your leadership and for your recognizing the contributions of Maine's outstanding women leaders. I want to encourage you to keep up the great work, and I look forward to continuing working with you as you move forward with your agenda here in Maine and throughout the country. So once again, congratulations to Mary and Lynn for this great honor that you're receiving today. Look forward to hearing the speeches later on this afternoon. So thank you very much, and congratulations again.
For your always special remarks and for joining us again today. We are also pleased to have a representative from Senator Susan Collins' office, and she has prepared letters that are going to be read by her staff. Office Representative for Augusta, Bobby Reynolds. Welcome, Bobby Reynolds.
Thank you, Sally. It's my pleasure to announce it is spring in Maine and the sap is running. What a beautiful day. Sally said, my name is Bobby Reynolds, and I work for Senator Susan Collins. The senator was unable to be here today because of a conflict in her schedule, but she asked that I stop and make some very brief remarks on her behalf and also present to today's honorees, Dr. Brown and Senator Cathcart, congratulatory letters that will become part of the record of today's proceedings. I also have original copies to present each of the honorees for their personal records as well. Although Senator Collins is not here today, she was here 2 years ago where she had bestowed upon her the honor of induction into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. I can tell you that she was very proud to join the long list of iconic women that preceded her. Women like her idol and mentor, Senator Margaret Chase Smith, and her mother, Patricia Collins. It's my privilege on behalf of Senator Collins to welcome today's honorees in joining that list of august and prestigious Maine women. As we go forward and look at today's proceedings, the senator would also like to thank all the efforts of the Maine Women's Hall of Fame and the sponsoring organizations. It takes a lot of work to put together an event like today's induction ceremony, but the real value of the organization is the work that the leadership does every day of the year, reminding Mainers of the significant and enormous contributions of Maine women leaders to our state. So on behalf of Senator Collins, I congratulate today's honorees, and to the Maine Women's Hall of Fame, the senator says thank you very much.
Thank you very much for giving the greeting from the senator. And we do remember, well, 2 years ago when she was here, and appreciated her being here tonight. And hopefully she can join us again maybe next year for our 24th. And now we are pleased to have a representative from U.S. Senator Angus King's office, and he's prepared letters to be read by his State Director, Edie Smith. Let's welcome Edie Smith.
Thank you, Sally, very, very much. It's such an honor
to be here. And I actually have certificates to present to Dr. Brown and Senator Cathcart on behalf of Angus. And I bring the greetings of Angus and his lovely wife, Mary Herman, this afternoon to all of you. As I was thinking about today and realizing that it was just about 1 year ago that Senator Snowe dropped a little bomb on us, that she would not be seeking re-election, and how sad we felt because of her loss, not only as a female in the United States Senate, but such a powerful, compassionate, caring representative of Maine in the U.S. Senate. And after the bomb was dropped and all the activity of, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And then a very interesting campaign. And now here I am with the great honor of representing our junior senator, Angus King, to honor Dr. Brown and Senator Cathcart. So you just never know what's going to happen in today's world, and I'm just very pleased to be here. I also will embarrass her, but I'm here with one of my personal female heroes, my niece, Rebecca Smith, who is hiding up in the back row, who is a co-chair of the leadership, new leadership with Mary Cathcart, and always very pleased to be Rebecca's shadow wherever I go. But Angus and Mary do send their regards. Angus is, and I do want to preface this by saying that he does like to be called Angus. He made it very clear when we all first started working for him that he's not the Senator or Senator King. He likes to be Angus. So please don't think I'm being disrespectful when I say Angus. I'm being told to say that. But he's working on a little bit of an important item, the federal budget. And he's not able to join us today. But Mary really would have liked to come, but she's at Ben's lacrosse game this afternoon. He's a senior at UNE. But with all of that, they wanted to make sure that I gave you the message of how proud they are of Dr. Brown and Senator Cathcart and all the work that you've been doing on behalf of not only women, but all residents of the state of Maine and the programs that you've been doing. I think often of how we all say we're all so busy in today's world. We're busy women. We're doing things on all different levels of life. But what's important is that we're not just busy, that we're fruitful in that busyness. And certainly Dr. Brown and Senator Cathcart are two wonderful examples of women who are fruitful in everything they do, and that we all benefit from that fruitfulness that they bring to Maine. So on behalf of Angus and Mary today, congratulations. Congratulations to you, Mary, and to Dr. Brown. And it's a joy to be here, and I look forward to the rest of the ceremony. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope this is the beginning of several years of at least you joining us, and hopefully the senator at another time can join us. And now we're pleased to have letters prepared by U.S. Representative Shelley Pingree, that will be read by our staff assistant, Steve Fushigas. Welcome.
Good afternoon. It's such a pleasure to see you all. Shelley sends her regards and is unable to join us this afternoon, but as I think I referenced last year, this is one of those events when I'm secretly glad she can't be here. I'm sure you prefer her to me, but I so appreciate being in the midst of such extraordinary, courageous, humble, brave, wonderful women, and so many that I have had the opportunity to know over the years. Seems like it wasn't that long ago, Mary and Ruth, that I was waxing eloquent about you, but as I said to Ruth, you're so last year, right? I bring, again, regards from Shelley, and I'm pleased to have an opportunity to read remarks from her. Dear friends, thank you for attending today's reception to celebrate the induction of Dr. Lynn Michael Brown and Mary Cathcart into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. Thank you to the Maine Women's Hall of Fame as well, because every year during Women's History Month, you provide us an opportunity to show our appreciation for extraordinary achievements and contributions that have improved the lives of women and girls in our state. I'm sorry I couldn't be there to join you, but it's an honor to send a few words to express my congratulations to and appreciation for these two incredible Mainers. I'm proud to live in a state that celebrates the legacy of powerful and confident women. Dr. Lynn Michael Brown's tireless work to empower young women ensures this legacy will only grow in the future. Her research has raised critical questions about how we treat girls and how we teach them to think about themselves. Her advocacy helped establish Hearty Girls, Healthy Women, an organization that is building a movement to confront these questions. And her example has empowered these girls to take on the fight themselves. There's no better testament to Lynn's impact than the new generation of young Maine women who are challenging the media about body image, gender stereotypes, and any other barrier standing between them and their dreams. Today's second honoree, Mary Cathcart, has worked tirelessly for the cause of women through years and years of public service. I had the privilege of serving with Mary in the Maine State Senate, where I witnessed firsthand how hard she worked for people across the state and how effectively she advocated for women and families. But her service doesn't just include her time in the legislature. She has also worked in other venues to combat domestic violence, give women equal opportunities in the workplace, and inspire future leaders to pursue careers in government and politics through the Maine New Leadership Program. Though neither of these women sought accolades, they have certainly earned them, along with our gratitude. So Lynn and Mary, thank you for your leadership on behalf of the people of Maine. I join the many guests with you today in sharing my respect for your efforts. May we each follow your examples by recommitting ourselves to a shared mission of equality. Best wishes, Shelley Pingrave, Member of Congress.
Thank you for joining us again this year. We look forward to having you join us again, and hopefully Representative Pingrave again in the future. So thank all of you for joining us today to help recognize what great women in Maine have done for our girls and women in Maine. And we'd really like to especially thank Representative Mikel for taking time again to join us in person. And now I'd like to explain a little bit about the Hall of Fame. It was established in 1990, and nominations are requested each year, and they're submitted from a variety of organizations, businesses, individuals. An independent panel of judges review the nomination for careful consideration to select one or two deserving honorees each year to be inducted. The Hall of Fame is dedicated to women who have met three specific criteria. First, the woman's achievements have had a significant statewide impact. Two, the woman's achievements significantly improved the lives of women in Maine. And third, the woman's contribution has enduring value to women. The National Women's Hall of Fame was established in Seneca Falls, New York. In 1990, BPW Maine past state presidents founded the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. Many of our past state presidents have continued to be involved with us to different degrees, including many of them sponsoring the silver tea, which hopefully you all enjoyed earlier. And this year we are honoring two women for induction into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. Dr. Lynn Brown, community activist, professor of education at Colby College, and co-creators of Hearty Girls, Healthy Women. She was nominated by Megan Williams, president, and Jackie DuPont, vice president of programming for Hearty Girls, Healthy Women. And Mary Cathcart, former Maine State representative and state senator, currently the senior policy associate at the Margaret Chase Smith Policy Center at University of Maine. She was nominated by the Penobscot Valley branch of AAUW. The induction for Lynn Brown will now begin. It is with pleasure that I ask Dr. Brown and her presenters to come forward. And once on the stage, we'll be departing, and we would like to welcome Megan Williams and Jackie DuPont as moderators.
We're very directive of how to grow. Good afternoon, my name is Megan. Hi, I'm Jackie. And it was our absolute pleasure to nominate Lynn Michael Brown for induction into this year's Maine Women's Hall of Fame. Lynn has been an incredible force in both of our lives over the last 10 years, and we can't think of a better way to honor her research, writing, activism, and leadership than by adding her name to the list of impressive women who have contributed so much to make our great state what it is today. We also want to congratulate Mary Cathcart for her tremendous work that she has done to bolster women's leadership in Maine. Thanks also to the Maine Women's Hall of Fame Selection Committee for recognizing that the key to empowering and engaging women as leaders is empowering and engaging girls as activists. Lynn is best known for the many ways her research has effectively changed the conversation on girls' development. Her 5 books, dozens of articles, curricula, and activist work stand out for one simple reason. She recognizes that it is not the girls, but rather the culture that they're growing in that's in need of repair. As such, she's committed her time, talent, and energy to translating her research into programs, policies, and initiatives that champion girls' strengths, incorporate girls' voices, and provide safe, supportive spaces for girls to name injustices and then work together to change them.
But Lynn stands out to us for a different reason. And that is the way she translates her research into practice here in Central Maine through her work with Hardy Girls Healthy Women. Having worked alongside Lynn since we were students at Colby College, we've seen firsthand the way Lynn walks the talk. I first met Lynn at Colby as one of her students in a course called that essentially changed my life. The course was called Girls, Women, and Culture in Education. I had taken a couple of sociology and education classes prior to that, but never identified myself as a feminist before taking her class. It was in Lynn's class that I experienced firsthand the power that comes with sitting in a room with 20 other women, dissecting the patriarchy, thinking critically about the culture we were living in, sharing our stories, and then creating workshops that would engage girls in junior high to think critically sooner than, say, 20 years old. Not only did Lynn give me the language and the tools to think about the complexities of my own life, but she inspired me to want to work with girls and develop programming that would prevent future generations of girls from feeling that they weren't good enough, deserve to be mistreated, and expect less. Working with Lynn and Megan and the other pioneer muses, I grew in so many ways that it's hard to fathom what trajectory my life would have taken if I hadn't stepped into ED 332 and then into the role of program coordinator at Hardy Girls about 8 years ago. As part of my job, I conduct the exercise Inspire Me, an exercise where we ask trainees to think about a woman who gave them courage, supported their best thinking, feeling, and creativity, someone who challenged them, and every time I think of Lynn. That exercise is in a training that Lynn developed so that Hardy Girls could bring out the best in other people who work with girls. It's clear that she is a part of her work and that when it comes to making a better world for girls to thrive, the personal is political for her. She inspires me to have that same courage and spirit. I see her inspire so many of her students and the people who come into contact with her that there couldn't be a better way to honor and recognize her work.
I also first met Lynn at Colby when I declared my second major in women's gender and sexuality studies. I stopped by her office to have her sign my paperwork, and she looked at me and she said, "Let's get together and get to know each other." And little did she know that invitation 10 years later. Shortly after, thanks to an email she sent out to students, I started my first internship at Hardy Girls Healthy Women and got to work in the Resource Center with Karen Heck. and helped plan one of our Girls Unlimited conferences. The next semester, Jackie and I took a class that Jackie mentioned called Women, Girls, and the Culture of Education, and it was during that class that I first got excited about girls' activism. Lynn made the connection for me that I'd been looking for in my sociology classes, translating theory into practice, doing something about the injustices we were learning about. The following year, Jackie and I piloted the Girls Coalition groups in 2 local schools, and throughout those 2 semesters, we designed activities and discussions all about topics that our 12 7th grade girls at Winslow Junior High wanted to discuss. Friendship, cliques, media, body image, sexual harassment, sexuality, it was all game. And it was here in our weekly hour-long sessions that I got to see the way that Lynn practiced what she taught us the year before, creating a safe space for girls, trusting girls, listening to girls, affirming girls' anger and frustration, and standing right alongside the girls as they found their voice, developed their agency, and became activists in their schools. I can't begin to list all the things that Lynn has taught me, and all the ways she supported me in the almost 9 years since our first girls group together. But I can tell you she's been my muse all along, inspiring me, trusting me, asking the right questions, and standing right alongside me through all the ups and downs, triumphs and challenges, murky situations, and uncharted territories you experience as a young leader of an organization, but especially one as unique as Hardy Girls Healthy Women.
Today, you'll get to hear from the other 2 members of the co-creator trio who founded Hardy Girls Healthy Women, Karen Heck and Lynn Cole, 2 young women who have grown up with Hardy Girls programs and now lead our Girls Advisory Board, Treva DeMenagier and Maya Brown. And Lynn Michael Brown herself, aka Dr. B. She prefers to be called that. Thank you, and please welcome Lynn Cole and Karen Heck.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here today. We didn't get the memo about coordinating our remarks, so we'll stand here together as we often do and talk about something very important to us. I'm delighted to be here today to speak in honor of Lynn and her induction into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. And I also want to congratulate and thank Mary Cathcart for her work and many contributions. In the mid-'80s, stepping back a few years, I was working with pregnant and parenting teens in Kennebec and Somerset counties. I was providing individual counseling and support as well as school-based groups throughout the 2 counties. I learned so much about teen girls through this experience. And from teen moms, I learned that they wanted healthy children, loving relationships, and good lives. They wanted basically the same things we all want in life. We talked about what they needed to do to make those things happen. They were more often than not clear about what needed to change. We'd identify an assignment, a task for them to take away so they could work on those goals. When we parted ways, I would often think, this is good. She's smart, she knows what she wants, a little bit of support, and she'll be just fine. The usual follow-up was a 3-month visit, and I'd check in to see what progress had been made. And so often, there was no progress made. Instead, I would hear stories of boyfriends who told them they were stupid if they actually thought they could change their lives. I heard stories of family members and friends who told them to just be satisfied with what they had. It was a constant struggle for them between their current lives and the lives they wanted. As my work moved away from direct service, I administered a number of programs for teens and young single mothers. Consistently across the programs, I continued to hear the same stories. Young women, smart women who knew what they wanted, but they weren't able to make the changes in their lives. At some point in the early 90s, my recall of time is horrible, but it was a while ago. I attended a conference in Portland that was sponsored by the Adolescent Pregnancy Coalition, which was a moving force at the time. And Lynn was presenting. And I'd never heard of Lynn Michael Brown before. But I was working on a grant application, and I knew she was a professor who'd done a lot of research, so I thought, well, I'll go to her session because maybe I could get some good stuff for my needs statement and my grants. I was late for the session, and I don't remember when it was, but it was a long time ago because I recall being late because I had to check in at the office and I was standing in line waiting for the payphone. So when I entered, Lynn was already speaking. And even though I don't remember exactly when it was, I clearly remember navigating my way to a vacant chair and then stopping in my tracks when I heard her say, "Girls do not need to be fixed." I thought, wait a minute, who is this woman? There's a lot more going on here than numbers for a grant application. She talked about girls in a way different from anyone else I'd ever heard. She talked about personal power and voice, and my mind immediately connected with all those 15-year-olds who had sat in my office talking about their futures, all those girls who had lost the power of their true voices. Soon after that conference, Karen and I were preparing for the second annual Girls Unlimited conference. She asked me if I'd ever heard of Lynn Michael Brown. Of course, I was happy to say, well, yes, I have. At that time, Lynn was interested in bringing her work into the community, and we had the good fortune of having her be interested in the work that we were doing. Lynn's approach to not fix girls, but rather to focus on the environment they live in and grow in, and to give them the tools they need to make change for themselves, was and still is a radical departure from typical girls programming. Lynn's message is to not only listen to girls, but to take them seriously. Her work is busting stereotypes because we know when a diverse group of girls get together, they can cooperatively accomplish amazing things. Lynn wants girls to critically think about what they're being told and what they're being sold, to take action, to push back, and to change the world we live in, and to create the world they want to live in. And as girls are pushing back, nothing makes Lynn happier than for girls to engage in social activism, and it brings a smile to her face every time. As her work continues to expand across the state, country, and beyond, Lynn is responsible for a new generation of girl activism taking hold. And for me, I think specifically about the girls who will delay pregnancies, the girls who have a vision for their lives and the belief in themselves and their own personal power that they can make it happen. It's a remarkable contribution. It's been an amazing experience working with Lynn, and I am most grateful for that and for her friendship. Congratulations, Lynn.
One of the reasons that I'm so excited about the two people who are being inducted today is that we're all sort of the same age. And what has been happening that is so exciting for me is that there are many more younger people who are following in our footsteps. And for Mary, I think about, I think I've known Mary for a long time. But the first Spruce Run advocacy that was done really opened my eyes to what needed to happen for women and girls, and to see Emily Kane here in the seats to be able to honor Mary is really the kinds of work that make a difference in the political system, and the kinds of young women who are here both in the Hardy Girls Healthy Women administration, as well as the rabble-rousing young women that Lynn has helped us create. It is really, it's the most gratifying thing that I actually can think of happening, because all of us are getting tired. And as I say to the people of Waterville, when I'm only running for one year one term as mayor, because because it's really incumbent upon us to make room for younger people to get in there and to fix what's broken and to support them in doing that. So I'm very excited about both of you being inducted. And I'm totally thrilled that Lynn is being inducted because as a daughter of Maine, a real daughter, many of us who are, Mary, you can't hide as a daughter, even though that accent. Many of us actually we chose to be here, but Lynn is a real daughter of Maine, and it makes us all residents of the state very proud. Lynn has been working to change the cultural environment for girls for her entire professional career. And it's not just here in Maine, but across the US and in Canada. Her books have been translated into many languages, fortunately for many girls across the world. She was working on this long before many of the girls who are actually here today were even born, as a member of the Harvard Project. And some of you might have remembered when this revolutionary work came out about girls not really being the problem. It's hard for us who have grown up trying to improve our self-esteem by changing the color of our hair or the way we dress to really understand what it's like to realize that it's no longer people believing that it's all about our problem. She's consulted for numerous film and television projects and published 4 books, written journal articles, way too numerous to mention, on many issues in girls' lives, including their feelings of anger, which lots of us didn't ever get to actually acknowledge that we had. A lot of self-knowledge that we didn't get, other than from little quizzes in magazines that ask us what shape is your face, and which hair looks better on that. So thank you for that. I never really did very well on those quizzes. And not only has she helped girls, but she's also helped parents. She's helped parents by writing books about how to raise hardy girls and also respectful boys. What makes Lynn's work so important for girls and women is that it's not just about that research, but also how to apply that. And that's what makes her different from many researchers and academics. She's actually very willing to help share what she knows. And for example, she's worked with the State Board of Education and the Governor's Subcommittee on Youth Safety to bring a gendered lens to the kinds of policies that are being made, as well as the voices of lesbian girls who are often forgotten. Her work with leaders of community organizations is helping them fashion those organizations to include the voices of girls in the governing of those organizations. Her work with the Hardy Girls Training Institute now helps people around the world. Who knew? We've gone from payphones to webinars that are actually received around the world. Here in Waterville, Maine. Well, not quite here, but in Waterville, Maine. Central Maine. She's worked with Spark. Her work with Spark to really engage the power of girls' voices has shown people across the world what girls' voices can do, which many of you might have remembered with the 17 magazine petition. Lynn's work with Colby students brings girls and young women into coalitions so that young women are growing up, listening to girls, listening to the voices of older women, and working in coalitions so that we don't have to be best friends with everybody, but we can actually be allies to change the things that we all know need to be changed. And what I love about the fact that Hardy Girls is now run by 20 and 30-somethings is that they actually think about even younger girls. And some of the work that's now being done actually is affecting some of the educators who work in the preschool programs in Educare, which works with the teachers so that girls at very early ages, before they even get to kindergarten, are understanding that they have a voice. In all of her work, Lynn also includes girls of all socioeconomic levels, always being certain that the issues for girls in lower income households are addressed. I want to just remind everybody, because some of you might not know that, back in 2001, when we were developing a girls' health plan for the state, it was Lynn's work that really helped us change the whole structure and the whole paradigm on what we were going to look at for girls' health. It was no longer, well, should we focus on girls who have eating disorders, or should we just focus on girls who are cutting, or maybe we should focus on girls who are using substances in harmful ways. It was not about looking at those girls. It was, why are those girls doing that? Is it not a rational response to some of the things that the culture is telling them about themselves? And that was a really, that was 14 years ago, and then, 12 years ago. Girls in math. That's what I remember from third grade. That really changed the way we're looking at girls. She provides us all with the skills we need to truly engage and support girls in creating the cultural change, and she's unbelievably generous with her time. She's never saying no, which I think she should once in a while. And she's not to us, right? And she rarely takes credit for the kinds of things that she's known for. And why I'm really excited about this today is because we get to shine the light on her. And I am delighted that the Business and Professional Women's judges have chosen to induct Lynn into this year's Hall of Fame, because it's a world in which the next group of women who are inducting the generation of girls and women into is not going to have to worry about their safety, their independence, and their equity and their equality in their next lives. These are the women that Lynn is bringing to the fore, and they truly are going to change the world that we've all been hoping will happen throughout our whole life. So thank you.
Karen was just here. Next up, we'd love to welcome two of our senior members of the Hardy Girls Advisory Board, Maya Brown and Trevor Demenadier. Yes.
I am Maya, and I'm Treva, and we are so happy that Lynn is being inducted into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame today. All the work she has done has helped so many girls and has reached both of us at a very personal level. Growing up with a mom who is so dedicated to making our world a better place has shaped me and shown me how important it is to speak up and defend the issues that I feel strongly about. Lynn has always been a prominent woman in my life who I've looked up to and who has given me many opportunities to become a true activist through programs like Hardy Girls and like my high school's Gay Straight Trans Alliance. We're so grateful that my mom saw the necessity of an organization like Hardy Girls. Because of her, the nonprofit's work has shaped our lives and made us into the people we are today. Whether it was through Adventure Girls, a program that my mom started to give my friends and other young girls access to real women doing amazing things, or the Girls Advisory Board, a group we have both been a part of for 5 years now, and now co-lead, we've experienced firsthand the benefits of her work. Hardy Girls has taught us how to be leaders and activists in our school, and has given us the tools we need to continue empowering other girls wherever we go. It has also given us a community of like-minded people to support us and shown us that we can be role models to younger girls, just like my mom has been to us. Beyond Hardy Girls, Lynn has been a key member in helping us start a Gay Straight Trans Alliance in our school. While Lynn's primary focus has always been on improving the lives of girls and women, when Maya and I entered high school and saw a lot of harassment and discrimination against LGBTQ youth, Lynn was the first to suggest forming a Gay Straight Trans Alliance, and she supported us every step of the way. She is a constant source of wisdom at every meeting, and without her, our group would not be what it is today.
Lynn has been there to keep us focused on our goal of making our school a safer place for all students and to push us beyond what we thought we were capable of. Although we may sometimes doubt it ourselves, Lynn has always shown us that our actions make a difference to everyone around us.
My mom has shown us through the power of example that girls' voices are important and they deserve to be heard. Because of her, we are stronger, more independent, and braver women. We have learned to question what we see and hear, to speak up against injustice, and to trust that our opinions matter. She has taught us that through a lot of hard work and dedication, we can change our society to be better for ourselves and for our peers.
It is for all these reasons and so many more that we feel that Lynn is incredibly worthy of this honor. It couldn't be more fitting that she's being grouped with women like Margaret Chase Smith and Karen Heck. As two young women who have grown under the incredible influence of Lynn Brown, it means so much to us to know that her name will be honored for years to come.
Mom, we know that you will continue to inspire so many girls and women like you have inspired us. And we hope that someday we'll make as big an impact on future generations as you have made on ours.
We love you. Thank you.
At this moment, we'd love to welcome up Representative Longstaff and Representative Kubiak, who are going to read a legislative sentiment for Lynn.
Good afternoon. Worlds are colliding a little bit for me today because, of course, Lynn is a colleague, and I feel like I'm representing a bit of the colleague community, but officially I'm here as the Maine State Representative. I will read a sentiment that has been prepared for Lynn, and Representative Longstaff will say a few words. I want to reinforce that this sentiment is from Representative Henry Beck of Waterville, Representative Thomas Longstaff of Waterville, Senator Colleen Lahovich of Kennebec, and me, Karen Kusiak. I represent Fairfield, but I was invited to sign on to this sentiment. Dr. Lynn Mikel Brown, EDD, of Waterville, activist, author, researcher, and professor at Colby College. This is an honor for you, recognizing you on your induction into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. For more than 25 years, Dr. Brown has dedicated her life to changing the cultural environment for women and girls in Maine. As a founding member of Harvard University's Project on Women's Psychology and Girls' Development, she is also a member of numerous other foundations and task forces. As a professor at Colby College, Dr. Brown has collaborated with community leaders and educators and has had a profound and widespread impact on the lives of women and girls throughout Maine and beyond. We extend our congratulations and best wishes to Dr. Brown on her induction into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. And be it ordered that this official expression of sentiment be sent forthwith on behalf of the 126th legislature and the people of the state of Maine. And this was presented, or it was on the calendar on February 28th, 2013.
I will add just a very personal word. It was many years ago when Lynn came to Colby. I was already a member of the faculty. Her office for more than a decade was only a few feet from mine. I saw her regularly. We talked about many things. I watched her career develop, realized that she was an excellent teacher. We talked about many things. I knew her colleagues, I knew her students. Some of my advisees were her students. I watched her research grow and flourish and was enormously respectful, impressed by the things that she was doing and the new ground that she was breaking and how important it was. We served together on a number of committees. The ones I most remember are the ones that were dedicated primarily to trying to achieve at the college and elsewhere issues of social justice, issues around both gender and race. She was a very eloquent spokesperson always on those occasions. And so when I first learned about Lynn's nomination for this honor, which is richly deserved, I hate to say it, it's probably in bad taste. The first thing that came to my mind was a very negative kind of expression that we've all heard. Those that can do, those that can't teach. And if ever there was a person who was the exact opposite of that, I've watched what Lynn has done in many ways, translating her teaching and her research into effective policy in the community at large. And for that, as when we were colleagues, I'm glad to call her a colleague, a friend, a constituent for many years, and am honored to be a part of the people who congratulate you and present you with this sentiment today. It's been great. Thank you.
I want to thank each of our presenters, Karen, Lynn, Maya, and Treva, and now welcome up Sally Ann Parks for the presentation of certificate.
From that fine presentation, I'm sure you are well aware why our independent panel of judges selected Lynn Michael Brown as one of the two women to be honored this afternoon. So it is a great pleasure. I ask her to please come forward to receive her certificate. The Business and Professional Women Maine, the BPW Maine, Futurama Foundation, and the University of Maine at Augusta, Maine Women's Hall of Fame Award for the 24th annual year, presented to Dr. Lynn Michael Brown, EDD, nominated by Megan Williams, President, and Jackie DuPont, Vice President of Programming, Hardy Girls, Healthy Women, presented this March 16, 2013 at the University of Maine at Augusta, signed by Marie Saucier, BPW Maine, Jill Nardone, University of Maine at Augusta, and Judith Clark, BPW Maine Futurama Foundation. Congratulations. Thank you for what you have done, and it's time now for you to take your future.
Thank you all so much. I'm just so glad this wasn't a roast. Just as later they told me. So I'm so grateful to the Maine Women's Hall of Fame for this honor. Thank you, Megan and Jackie, for nominating me and for working with our tenacious and brilliant staff and board to make Hardy Girls such a vital part of our community and our state. And I also want to thank Sharon Barker, Adam Howard, and Mary Madden for writing letters of support. Thank you, Lynn and Karen, for a 12-year journey that has been real. Really fun and satisfying and hard at times, but just incredible. And thank you, Maya and Treva, for reminding us all why we must all invest in girls as agents of change. It's really moving. Thank you. I'm passionate about my work, and I believe in the power of community. I grew up in Washington County, in a small town where going it alone wasn't smart or even possible, and in a family that remains tied with invisible threads to a sense of place. When I called to tell my parents I was accepted to graduate school, my dad said, "This has been a great day. The ice went out of the lake, your mother won $400 in the lottery, and you got into Harvard." He's no longer with us, but as a former semi-pro baseball player in the old Maine leagues of the 50s and 60s, I'm pretty sure he'd say when he heard, "Whoever heard of a Hall of Famer who can't hit or throw?" So my mom, who taught me everything about determination and fairness, unfortunately can't be here today, although she's now in Waterville. But I'm really incredibly grateful that my sister Susan came all the way from Texas to represent the family. Thank you. So I have a sense of place. Clearly I have perspective. And I also have a sense of the importance of relationships. I'm so grateful for the endless support of my friends and my family, especially my generous and loving partner, Mark Tappan, and our remarkable daughter, who you've heard from. As you all know, who have come here to support me, you know firsthand that I'm attracted to people who are smarter, braver, and kinder than I am. Thank you all so much for being here to support me, all of my friends. I so appreciate it. So as you've heard, I live a life of moving parts, teaching at Colby with brilliant colleagues and truly inspiring students who are passionate about social justice. Working tirelessly with tireless community activists and consummate professionals to build and sustain a grassroots organization at Hardy Girls, and scheming online about ways to end media sexualization with some of the most amazing girl activists from across the country. Every day is infused with feminism and complicated in different ways. I get to create a life that reflects the values and principles I believe in, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. For a long time, I've done something deceptively simple. I've listened to girls. Hardy Girls is based on an uncomplicated but powerful finding. If you ask girls what they really think, they will tell you. If you ask them to describe what's unfair, what hurts, what feels off or bad in their world, they will share stories. If you offer a safe space, fill it with a diversity of voices, and challenge them to think critically, to look beneath the surface of things and imagine the world as if it could be otherwise, they will generate utopian visions. And if you offer to join them, especially if you bring support and something yummy to eat, they will work astonishingly hard to bring these visions into the world as real possibilities. Working with girls and young women is unpredictable in all the best ways. They are endlessly interesting and surprising. It's impossible to stay in one place for very long when you work with them. Their courage, creativity, and tenacity are humbling, and I learn over and over again what it means not to get it right the first time, to live a rough draft version of life. I'm on my toes all the time, and just when things feel on the verge of falling apart, unexpectedly, in the intersection between worlds, something takes hold, and it's hard to describe. And so I'm going to age myself now and say it's kind of like I'm the old cartoon character, Mr. Magoo, Mr. Magoo, sort of half blind, wandering the top floor of an unfinished construction site. Just before I step off a beam to certain death, another beam swings over to take its place, and on I go. It's an apt metaphor because the way I think about my work at Hardy Girls and at Powered by Girl and at Spark is as scaffolding girls' ideas, connections, and activism, providing short-term support for their long-term solutions. Sweet Honey in the Rock founder and activist Bernice Johnson Reagan reminds us that home is the place that feeds us, that shores us up for the hard work and endless demands of coalition building and political activism. Home is a safe space to share secrets, connect stories, a place to dream big, plan, organize, and revision. I see parts of my younger self in so many of the girls I work with, and I want them to know in elementary school and junior high what I didn't know until much later, that home is something you can make with other girls and women, that power grows through questioning and critique, that creative social action in your backyard is the best practice for leadership in the world. And I want girls to experience, in Jeanette Winterson's words, an imagination that will detonate life, not decorate it. So what I experience every day is the radical nature and explosive potential of home. I experience it when the girls we work with organize to persuade 17 Magazine to pledge not to digitally alter girls' bodies, and when they successfully protested off the shelves violent and degrading t-shirts. I experience it every time a girl's opinion breaks through to influence the public imagination. Whether she's blogging for Powered by Girl or for Spark, delivering a girls' unlimited media literacy workshop in her community, or representing girls at the United Nations. So I want to thank you again for this honor, and with it, the public recognition of such intergenerational work, the work that we do. And I accept this prestigious award on behalf of Maine girls and the politics of learning, participation, and hope that they offer all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now have the induction ceremony for Mary Cathcart. They may exit, and would the group of presenters and moderator for Mary Cathcart please come forward.
Good afternoon. I'm very pleased to be here. This room is full of many of my sheroes, and many of my sheroes to come, I believe. I want to start with thanking Lynn Michael Brown for her words of wisdom, her research, her books, and for the help that she, whether she knows it or not, gave me in raising my own Hardy girl. So thank you, Lynn. You very much deserve this honor. I'm very pleased to be associated with Mary Cathcart and with the AAUW Penobscot Valley branch that nominated Mary for this award. I've known Mary for a long time, and our circles have intersected at various times, and I'm very pleased about the intersection with AAUW, because now I am a member of Mary's group as well, and I appreciate that. First, I'd like to introduce Sharon Barker, Director of the Women's Resource Center at the University of Maine, and 2009 inductee into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame, and my friend of 52 years.
Thank you. This is really a pleasure for me. First of all, for knowing that both my dear friend Lynn Michael Brown and my cherished colleague Mary Cathcart were going to be inducted the same day. I just feel like the stars are just lining up for us. Doing the work with women and girls takes a certain amount of tenacity and hope and conviction. And one of the things that I think is hardest for us to accomplish is to have women back each other up and to stand behind each other. We are so taught by our society that everybody else's interest should go before ours. One of the most precious things to have when you're working in this field is knowing that people have your back. And there are not any two women that I can mention that I am more convinced have my back more than Lynn Michael Brown and Mary Cathcart. So to be able to stand and speak this publicly is a huge privilege for me. And Mary, I just have to say that we're very, very grateful that you adopted Maine as your state. We all know about that because she has maintained her Southern charm and graciousness, and it is certainly a part of her demeanor and a hallmark of the way she does her work. She's fierce in her advocacy and protection of women and the work that she does to support us. And yet, I never hear Mary raise her voice. I don't hear her badmouth anybody. She very, very respectfully spends time listening to my rants, because I have an altogether different cultural background that doesn't include any of those things. So it's just really wonderful to see how she came to our state, our beloved state of Maine, and made it hers. And she is certainly one of ours. She started as a young professional woman working at Spruce Run in domestic violence. And really, if you watch Mary's career, you'll find that she picks up other causes and work as she moves along, but I don't think she ever leaves anything behind or stops doing the work that she was originally committed to. The work she did for Spruce Run directly certainly translated into her legislative work, where she was very, very instrumental. It's very important legislation that protected women who are victims of domestic violence, both in the way that custody decisions were decided, that actual history of domestic violence should be considered when talking about custody of children. I mean, hello, what a profound revolutionary idea that is. And also just the way that not only for the individuals, but the structures and the systems that are in place to support women who need the support. Getting advocates for victims in the DA's office, for example, is another thing that Mary was very instrumental in accomplishing. And I want to pause here briefly to say that you don't necessarily find Mary Cathcart's name branded all over these initiatives, because one of the ways she does her work and does it so well is by promoting other women and putting other women forward. So many of the initiatives that Mary has provided invaluable leadership for may have the names of other women attached to them. She is, as I say, always there, always got your back, always working either in front or in behind the scenes, whatever's needed in order to move us forward. She went into the legislature, and my conviction is she would still be a senator if we did not have that abomination of term limits in our state. Yeah, she may be in Washington by now. I mean, it's just when you consider the problems that our state and our nation faces to, by force of law, move people out of decision-making positions simply because of a very arbitrary, limited amount of time. It's another one of those laws that we pass to fix a problem that doesn't exist. But anyway, in the legislature, she was very, very effective, and her work spread from that in many, many different areas. You can find Mary at just about anything that is in place to support women. She was one of the founders of the SAFE Fund, Safe Abortions for Everyone, an organization whose only purpose is to raise money to support paying for abortions for low-income women. A population and a need that is seriously overlooked in our society. She has worked on the national level, chairing a commission on the welfare of families and children, holding hearings around the country, and incorporating into a report a very well thought out and well presented perspective that delicately managed some of the controversy that arises whenever we're talking about those concerns of family. She has gone on to currently, and I'm skipping over a lot because she is, I thought of this, I thought, well, I could do a list. And I could stand up there and I could say she was on this board and she was on that board and she's doing this and she was doing this. And really, they only really told me I could have 5 minutes. So I thought I would be better off with a little editorializing and kind of talking about not only who she is and what she does, but how she does it. The new leadership project, I've kind of floated in and out of that and worked with Mary on that. And her commitment and determination to bring young women forward, to make them, to help them understand their own power, the potential they have to change society, is just remarkable. And all you have to do is talk to Mary to realize that she, within this project, has found perhaps the culminating project for the work that she's done all these years. She is always thinking about how to promote and leverage younger women into positions of influence. She is always figuring about ways to bring other people to the table. She's so balanced and fair in her approach that occasionally we disagree about that. To me, it is amazing how, with such strong convictions and with such clear values, that she can maintain this calm eagerness, if you will, to make sure all points of view are represented. And I learn from her every day in the way that she does her work. I am very, very proud to be a colleague of Mary's. I see her all over the place at so many meetings in support of so many good causes. And I don't want to neglect to mention that one of the things she does is she demonstrates through her own personal demeanor and lifestyle what it means to lead a good and full life. Because as hard as Mary works, and as much of an influence she's had on our state and on women and girls throughout not only our state but country, I know, and people who know Mary know, that her personal life is very important to her. Her family is first and foremost. She takes time for herself to travel and to experience new things. And she just is an exemplary woman for all of us throughout the ages. She certainly belongs in the Hall of Fame, and it is definitely my privilege to be able to honor her publicly. Congratulations, Mary.
Thank you, Sharon. It's now my great pleasure to introduce Catherine Musgrave. She is Professor Emerita of Food Science and Human Nutrition at the University of Maine. I thought that you only got that after you stopped teaching, but they pulled her back in, and she is still teaching at the University of Maine, teaching nutrition. And she is a 2011 inductee into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. Catherine?
Mary, you don't know how excited I am about this. But first, I want to thank Sally Ann Parks and all the women here in Augusta who made this such a special place to me. As I sit here and look out over this audience, I think about this room will always be very special to me because it is dedicated to a very important part of our lives, and that is to women in their homes and in their professional lives. And we're very grateful to all of you who made that possible. We're happy that we have as many of you here, and we want you to know that Mary actually was a gift to Maine. She was born in Mississippi. She and I grew up in the South. In fact, we both have a record of being at the same graduate school at Vanderbilt. Of course, I was there many years before she was. But still, Mary has brought to Maine everything that Sharon said, I think, her ability to relate to all of us. So I'm speaking as a friend, as a woman who lived in Orono, who really didn't know much about state government, but all of a sudden my neighbor and friend was the House of Representatives, and I felt perfectly safe to call her at 9 o'clock at night, knowing that she probably just got in from Augusta an hour earlier, and ask her something about what was going on in Augusta. Mary would take time to explain to me what was going on. She would listen to my opinion, and she would help me think things through. So Mary's time in the House of Representatives and in the Senate have been very valuable to those of us who live in her district and who have heard her. And we didn't just benefit our district because you've heard the things that she's done for all of us in the state. And so I give her a great deal of praise for being such a wonderful, how did Sharon say it? She can make you think it was your idea, but it's her advocacy that comes out. And in some way, it's been just wonderful to watch her operate. I would like to go into many things that Mary has done,
but I want to look at her as a mother as well as a professional. Mary was very busy with a daughter and a son in the Orno school at the same time that she was giving all of her time, it seemed like, to those of us in her community for whom she was serving as a representative or as a senator or as a worker for women's issues. So I believe that I'd like to take my thoughts just a minute to the whole lifetime of women, from the time we see Mary down in Mississippi and Alabama as a young woman being educated and then coming through Massachusetts and finally getting to the garden spot of Maine and living here with us and doing the kinds of things she has done at the same time that she was parenting and having a wonderful family. So Mary, I take off my hat to you as a mother, as a legislator, as a good friend.
Yeah, because I have to say, it takes a gift to know a gift. And now I'd like to introduce Emily Kane. That's Senator Emily Kane. She's Maine State Senator. She's a former representative and the former Speaker of the House. Emily Kane.
Thank you very much, Ruth, and thank you to all of you for being here today. I do want to, you met Tom Longstaff and Karen Kuziak. I want to acknowledge another one of my colleagues who's here today. Joyce Fitzpatrick, State Representative from Holden, is here as well, and she and I have been looking forward to this day all week. I'd also like to add my congratulations to Dr. Brown. Well, I don't know her. I know her work. I've read much of her work in some of my own graduate studies, and I'm a great admirer of the work that she does and the impact she continues to have through her work in the state. I also cannot miss an opportunity any time it presents itself to publicly recognize and thank the two women who, without question, I would not be standing here in front of you, having been the House Democratic leader or chair of the Appropriations Committee, or now in my first term in the Senate. And that is not only Mary Cathcart, but the one and only Honorable Libby Mitchell, who's here as well. And I cannot. Today is very special, and it's very special for me. I take great pride and excitement in the opportunity to speak to you today, and was very happy that the Penobscot Valley branch of the AAUW, of which I am a member, asked me to write a letter for this nomination as well. I have known Mary for more than 10 years, but really during the last 9 years, it's been through my service in the legislature that I can speak to Mary's impact on me as a mentor and a role model. I know it's a movie title, but you can't miss the opportunity. There's something about Mary. Right? And that's just true. And as I started with my service in the House in Orono, everywhere I went, the first question I got was, well, you're not running against Mary, are you? And it's like, no, Mary sadly has turned out of the Senate, and I'm running for the House. Actually, Mary's supporting me. Actually, it was Mary and really her husband, Jim, who recruited me to run for the House when I was 24 years old and just graduated from graduate school. But when I was campaigning for the Senate this time, I would be in Lincoln, or in Mattawacken, or Lincoln, or in Enfield, or Old Town. And I can't tell you, Mary hasn't served in the Senate but for 8 years, and the number of people who said to me, do you know Mary Cathcart? Is Mary Cathcart supporting you? What's Mary Cathcart doing now? How's Mary Cathcart? And you should have seen the Burlington, Maine 4th of July parade when Mary decided to join me to show her support for my campaign, and you would have thought Mary was running for office. Because this is a town of like 400 people that balloons to more than 2,500 one day a year on the 4th of July, and they all were really there to see Mary Cathcart. But there really is something about Mary. It's her tenacity, it's her determination, it's her kindness, it's the fact that when she needs you to do something for her, you do it. And even if you don't have time or you don't really know how to do it, the next thing you know, you've done it and you're thanking her for having had you do extra work. It's just a fact that something about Mary appears in her public service, representing Orono and many communities in Penobscot County, where she is so well known and so respected and loved that you can only imagine how thrilling it is for me to continue to walk in her always fashionable shoes, both in the House and now in the Senate. Mary has not left my side since she and Jim first recruited me to run for the House. She has mentored me and advised me, encouraged me, pushed me, and helped me navigate the often complex and, dare I say it, sometimes old boy network of the State House in Augusta. I am a young woman for whom many people in the State House have watched me grow up there over the past 9 years. And that has been because of Mary's nurturing, her mothering, her support, and her constant focus on the issues at hand. It is not just about the clearly very glamorous life of a Maine legislator, but it's actually for Mary, what gets Mary going is to talk about research and development, to talk about domestic violence and how we need to end it in our state, to stand up for women and girls, to get to know the budget. It was because of Mary that I wanted to be the chair of the Appropriations Committee, because she was a serious chair of the Appropriations Committee, and it was actually Libby who was the one who said to me, don't back down, you asked for that. You get it, you get that. And Mary and Libby, next thing I knew I was there, and I said, oh yeah, this is great. And I was a pretty fierce chair of appropriations too. But only because you have women who set that bar for you. They set that, you can see yourself there because they worked their butts off to get there. And that's why I feel so lucky. Mary is loved. I also can't, I have to mention Mary's work with the New England Board of Higher Education, something that Mary has worked on a regional level to increase access to affordable quality higher education. And she recruited me to be that board, and I am now continuing to walk in her shoes as vice chair of NEBI and hopefully as chair in the next year. And Mary, again, set that bar for Maine, for New England. Mary's commitment to Maine, and particularly to women and girls in Maine, has only grown since she left office, because she decided we would have a branch of the new leadership program here in Maine. And when Mary decides something, you might as well just join in, because otherwise you'll get run over. And the next thing you do, the University of Maine Margaret Chase Smith Policy Center is the home of the new leadership program. And Mary shows up in your office and she asks you for $500 and she leaves with $1,000. And that's how Mary is. And Mary got partners all over the state, from businesses and educational institutions. And now she brings together women every summer to teach them about how to break into the political world and not be afraid of it, to take it by storm and to know that they belong there. I had the opportunity to serve as a faculty in residence in that program a few years ago, and those women are women I'm still connected with today because Mary connected us. Mary is an amazing mentor. And I just want to close by saying there are a lot of people at the State House who obviously worked with Mary and know her and love her. But for me, my very best day is when someone says to me, you know, Emily, you remind me a lot of Mary Cathcart. It's on those days that I know I must be doing good work, and on those days that I know I wouldn't be where I am if it were not for her encouragement and for literally standing by my side every step of the way. Thank you to everyone at the Maine Women's Hall of Fame for putting this together today. It is a very special day for me to participate in and to honor a dear friend and mentor. Thank you very much.
I'd like to introduce Sally Ann Parks, who will make a presentation and induct Mary into the Women's Hall of Fame. Thank you for such a nice presentation, and I am sure you are again aware why we are presenting this honor to her for all she has done. Would you please come forward? The Business and Professional Women Maine, BPW Maine, Futurama Foundation, and the University of Maine at Augusta present the 24th Annual Maine Women's Hall of Fame Award to Mary R. Cathcart, nominated by Penobscot Valley Branch AAUW, presented March 16, 2013 at University of Maine at Augusta. Marie E.Z. Saucier, BPW Maine, Jill Nardone, University of Maine at Augusta, Judith Clark, BPW Maine Futurama Foundation. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Sally Ann and everyone. This is the greatest honor of my life, and I am so deeply grateful to everyone who had a part in my being recognized here today. Thank you, BPW, for establishing this program to recognize Maine women, and congratulations to Lynn Michael Brown. I've admired her work, heard her speak, and I loved it that the two of us are both working with the next generations of girls and women so that we can make sure that we have hearty and healthy women leading our state and our nation. My loyal friends in the Penobscot Valley branch deserve my thanks for nominating me. It's such an honor. And special thanks to Kathleen Bauschatz. We called her the whip. She gently nudged the members who had agreed to write letters. And she helped me with my resume, which was way too short, she said. And later, when we learned I would be inducted, she made sure I did what Sally Ann Parks, the efficient and excellent chair, told me was necessary to make this a success. Thanks to Ruth, Sharon, Catherine, and Emily for writing letters and for the wonderful remarks today. I am so fortunate to have such friends and people that helped me along the way. I thank also Ann Schoenberger, who wrote a wonderful letter about my past work with Spruce Run. Ann is in the other Portland this weekend visiting her family there, but she's with us in spirit. Finally, I have to thank my husband, Jim Dearman, for taking good care of me in so many ways. His work on behalf of us both really makes it possible for me to continue to do the things that I care about so much. And I really do appreciate it and want him to know that. He often thinks I don't appreciate it. I asked Emily and Sharon what I should say. I have 5 minutes. Gotta speak faster. Emily made a great suggestion, and so did Sharon. Emily said, "Tell what motivated you to get into this originally and what motivates you to stay involved today." Sharon said, "Tell them what you want them to know." How long can I go? I grew up in the rural South, Catherine has told you. I remember asking my mother why there were 2 separate drinking fountains, one on either side of the stairs in Sears and Roebuck, no escalators in those days. One sign said white, the other sign said colored. This and other observations when I was really young taught me about white privilege and racism. One lesson my mother learned, which I've never forgotten, nor did she, was when our cook abruptly told her she was leaving us. My mother said, "But Aussie, why would you leave? I've been good to you. I just took you to the eye doctor and got you new glasses." The cook said, "Miss Jane, I just want you to pay me enough so I can buy my own glasses." Isn't that really what we all want? A little dignity and respect. My parents had a mixed marriage. My mother was a Democrat and my father a Republican. So I learned about bipartisan cooperation a very long time ago. My grandmother had worked as a librarian for the WPA during the Great Depression, so my mother could go to college, and she and my mother often talked about the Roosevelts, particularly Eleanor. And I also remember hearing about Margaret Chase Smith's Declaration of Conscience speech, though I was just a little girl and we didn't own a TV, so I didn't see anything about it, but I heard my family talking about her. In high school, I ran for president of student government and lost to a boy who had been mean to me because I wouldn't let him copy my geometry homework. My mother tried to make me feel better by saying, "It's not right, the boys always win." I wrote an essay for my favorite teacher, Miss Shuttleworth, in which I said it was not fair that boys get everything and girls are treated like second-class citizens. I got an A. I had learned then about white male privilege, even though I didn't yet know the word feminist. From my earliest years, I was conscious of justice and injustice, equity and inequity, and looked for what I could do to help change the world.
Arriving in Bangor in the 1970s with a husband and 2 small children, I needed to find something meaningful just for myself. Soon I met women who were involved with Spruce Run, which was fairly new at that time. I signed up for the second volunteer hotline training and soon joined the steering committee. Through Spruce Run and the Domestic Violence Coalition, I met people in the Maine Women's Lobby, the Maine Commission for Women, and I was appointed to the commission. I went to Augusta for meetings and legislative hearings. And soon people, women and men, started telling me I should run for office. I always demurred. But when the opportunity was offered to run for an open house seat in 1988, I said yes and served 3 terms in the House and 4 in the Senate. When my term limit came in 2004, I was offered a position at the University of Maine in the Margaret J. Smith Policy Center. A couple of years later, Libby Mitchell, who had then been elected to the Senate, handed me a letter from the Center for American Women in Politics at Rutgers. They were asking her to start a leadership program in Maine for college women. Libby said, "You're at the Margaret J. Smith Center now, so I want you to do this." It took a while to build interest and support, but in 2008, Rebecca Smith joined us, who is wonderful, and we wrote a proposal to Rutgers, and UMaine was accepted into the National New Leadership Network. We launched Maine New Leadership in 2009, and we are still now excitedly accepting applications for our 5th year. Why am I so committed to Maine New Leadership? Because women leaders do make a difference. I believe it is our collective responsibility as women and feminists to educate and empower the next generation of women to engage in civic and political life. We all cheered after last November's election when we heard that we had the highest number of women ever in the United States Senate, 20 women. Is that enough? No. Consider the Maine legislature. The percentage of women has not increased since my first House term in 1988. When I entered the Maine Senate in 1996, there were 3 women in leadership positions: Democrat Shelley Pingree, Ann Rand, and Republican Jane Amaro. In the House in 1997, Libby Mitchell was Maine's first woman Speaker of the House, and Carol Contos was Majority Leader. Later, Beverly Daggett was elected as our first woman Senate President. Sharon Treat was Majority Leader, and Mary Small led the Republican caucus. These women leaders were effective and powerful. They understood that to get things done, you don't always have to take credit, and they knew how to compromise. Today, the leadership of the Maine legislature are all men. The number of women in the Senate went down from 8 to 7, and there are no Republican women in the Maine Senate today, and that is a travesty. Ladies, we have to work harder to change this. We must identify women who are smart, capable, and courageous. There are lots of them, and encourage them to run for office. Research has shown that women need to be told they are leaders and urged to run. We must lift up other women. In Maine New Leadership, we identify women with leadership potential, offering them training and skills such as public speaking, networking, and advocacy, and give them the confidence to step forward and lead in whatever careers they choose. I am committed to continuing this work, and I ask for your help. Thank you again to everyone for this great honor today.
Thank you very much, Mary, for sharing with us your story and believing in and staying here. We appreciate what you have done. And I'm sure what you're still planning to do. Okay, now congratulations to both Linda Brown and Mary Cathcart. We are very pleased with our 2 newest inductees in the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. And we really do appreciate all that they both have done on behalf of women and girls in the state of Maine. A sincere thank you to those who presented information this afternoon on our newest inductees. Thank you to those individuals and businesses who support the Maine Women's Hall of Fame, the BPW Maine Futurama Foundation, and their generous contributions. Those generous donations that were received by
March 10th are listed in the program. Monies donated to the Hall of Fame itself or in honor of or in memory of someone are used to augment our scholarship program through the BPW Maine Futurama Foundation to high school senior girls and women attending college. For 2013, 6 $1,200 scholarships will be awarded. Extra donation forms and envelopes are available at the registration table. Hopefully some of you have donated so that we can share what these women have done by helping to get more girls attending college and continuing to get their education so they can become our new leaders of tomorrow. We have special appreciation to the many people involved with today's event, the sponsoring organizations, University of Maine at Augusta, the facilities department there, the sponsors of our inductees, those who participated in the induction ceremony this afternoon, the judges, and the special committees for the Hall of Fame, including the Silver Tee. This event would not be possible without the hard work of everyone involved. We appreciate all of you joining us this afternoon in honoring our inductees to our 24th Maine Women's Hall of Fame. We trust that you have had an enjoyable afternoon and that you will inform others about the Maine Women's Hall of Fame and the work of the BPW Maine Futurama Foundation in providing educational scholarships to Maine women. This ceremony is held annually on the third Saturday in March. Nominations are distributed in early fall, and completed nominations must be received by the deadline of December 1st. It is not too early to begin thinking of deserving women to nominate for next year, which doesn't seem possible. Will be our 25th year for the Maine Women's Hall of Fame in 2014. You can let me know if you have someone you would like to nominate. If you are not on our list to get nomination forms, we would be glad to send one to you this fall. And now the display of all our inductees' photos is at the Cathcart Library. Although the library is normally closed on Saturday, they were opening it for us this afternoon until 5. The entrance that goes in by the Holocaust Human Rights Center, so that you can go in to see the nice wall there, the display place for all of our inductees. And there is also a stand there which has a book with a page write-up explaining about what the person did, which is like what is in your program booklet you have today for our 2 inductees this year. It would be nice if you got a chance to see that, and if you're ever coming through this way on your own sometime or with family, it'd be nice to stop so that you can tell people, families, friends, out-of-state people, what women in Maine have done for women and girls. So please take a few minutes to stop by and see that display. It looks very nice there on the wall, right by the collection desk at the library, and it's a great way for you to look at and honor all the people that we have inducted in the past. And again, thank you for joining us this afternoon to honor our 2 newest inductees. And please leave your name badges at the back of the auditorium so that you can use this. Again, keep your name tag if you'd like to out of it. That helps us to save a bit on our expenses. And I would like to again thank all of you for joining us today. Start thinking about nominating someone for next year. Have a safe drive home. Thank you.